Told you about SC's win here over the weekend over Troy, a game in which they trailed by 10 points. Ended that game on a 31-17 run, in large part to that kid, Jordan McLaughlin, who's just been tremendous for them in the 3 games since Benny Boatwright went down with that knee injury.
What's key for USC, Spiro, is imposing their will on the game, and that is defensively getting stops, but then getting out in transition, transitioning that defense to offense. They have to make the game fast, and it's going to be interesting tonight against a team that plays a Princeton style. Can they do it? Can they make this game fast?
Foul charge to USC Shaquan Aaron, his first. Inbound to Stone Gettings, a local kid born and raised in Malibu.
Shaquan Aaron starting on Morgan. That tells you what Andy Enfield thinks about him defensively.
And this is Gettings stepping out. He started to play a little bit better after a shaky start to the season. Good looking stroke as the big man stepping out for the 3.
Well, not much was expected based on last year from Gettings, and he's the 2nd leading scorer on this Cornell team. You see, as a big guy, he can step out and knock down that 3. But USC, the other thing they need to do is impose their will in the paint. There you see they go to Metu. He gets the contact in the end one, but they have the size advantage over Cornell. So when they are in the half court, when they're not playing fast, go into Metu and see if you can get easy buckets, and he delivers that time.
Foul charge to Gettings. That's his first. So here is Metu at the free throw line. On the season, 72% entering this one today, and Metu starting to put some nice games together.
He's really improved, and because of all the people that left after last season for USC, he's a featured guy. The one thing that's going to hurt him, and you mentioned before we started the game, no Benny Boatwright. Benny Boatwright, because of his ability to knock down 3s, opened up the paint more for Metu. So let's see if he's still getting the opportunities without Boatwright in there.
Look at Gettings getting to the rim. Unable to finish, but the kid showing some athleticism.
Guys from Malibu aren't supposed to try and dunk on 3 guys, are they?
Shaquan Aaron misfires on a little mid-range jumper. And this is Hatter out of Matt Morgan. This is their star player, averaging better than 18 per game. They'll fire a 3 off the back of the rim, no good. They do lean on him a lot for their scoring. It's a big burden he's got to carry with him every time they take the floor.
And he's a tough guard for 2 reasons. Rakocevic gets the foul. Morgan not only has unlimited range, but he's got the unlimited green light. So that makes you a tough guard, because you always have to be aware of him catching and releasing, especially way back behind that line.
Non-shooting foul, so the Trojans inbound underneath with 30 to shoot. Rakocevic underneath to Metu. Likes the size advantage, misses over the top of Gettings, and then it's last touched by Cornell.
But here's the thing, Spiro. You give up the size advantage by inside pivot shooting a 15-footer. You're letting the defender off the hook. You have the size advantage, pound it down into the paint, and go over the top.
This is Elijah Stewart, who's had some monstrous games this season. And an offensive foul here as Rakocevic battling underneath for the rebounding position. And he is charged for his first.
USC looks out of sorts already. Why? Because it's being played the way Cornell wants to play it. Half court, no rhythm, no flow, no tempo. USC's got to string together some stops here and get the game going.
Cornell just 2-6 entering this one tonight. They come in off a loss in Wyoming. They're still trying to find themselves in this, obviously a tall order for them, taking on one of these 6 remaining undefeated teams in the country. And meantime, this is Stone Gettings making Malibu proud here in the early couple of minutes.
He's got some game. He knocks down a 3. That time a post-up ISO. He tried to dunk on 3 guys from USC. Showing it all to us here in the first 3 minutes.
I'm just jealous. What's it like to grow up in Malibu? That must be amazing.
I didn't even know there was basketball courts in Malibu, but Morgan knocks down the 3, and I'm telling you, you don't want to let Cornell come in here and get confident. They're up 8-3. You're going to have a problem like you did the other night with Troy. You don't want to get in the habit of we're better than the other team. Let's just show up and play. Here's Gettings just wheeling around the running skyhook. Haven't seen one of those in a while. And this is what I was talking about with Morgan. You have to be alert because he's going to catch and shoot from wherever, whenever, and he knocks that one down.
Fouls charged to Hatter, his first, third-team foul. Aaron not bashful at the start, drilled 3, and that cuts the USC deficit to 2. You mentioned the game against Troy. SC led for a grand total of only about 5 minutes in that game. Hatter hits a 3. Cornell is 4 of 6, and they've hit 3 of their first 4 from deep.
This is, you don't want this if you're USC. You've done a great job getting to 10-0. You're at home against a team you should beat. You want to go into conference play undefeated with some momentum. This would be a disastrous loss. And Kosovic, they may look at this. He tossed. What's that down there?
It was Troy Whiteside who hit.
Yeah.
So Rakosovic has to sit. That's his second.
Elbow up and then just kind of toss him down. I guess they won't look at it. It wasn't above the shoulders.
That was barely a foul when you played, right?
Yeah, that's a flop.
So Rakosovic has to sit nonetheless. Picks up his second. Andy Enfield has to go to his bench. So Charles Buggs onto the floor for the first time.
Player movement, ball movement in this offense. A lot of back cuts. You have to be alert. I talked about being alert with Morgan. How about Gettings, too?
Gettings going last. Not sure he called it, but he'll take it. He's got 8 of Cornell's first 14 points.
But I like that and you never know when guys come home to play, whether they're going to be nervous, whether they're going to be fired up, and that's who travels. But Stone Gettings, he ain't afraid to come in here to the Galen Center. He's knocking down threes.
Have started slowly. There's Matt Liner.
His teams didn't start slow. They annihilated people when he was here.
Matt's still looking good these days. Still royalty around these parts and adding some star power to the Galen Center on a Monday night here in December.
But let's see if these bench guys, and it's your job as a bench guy, and this Gettings just continues to go crazy here in the early going, but provide energy. Melton in the game, Matthews in the game. If your team's struggling and kind of flat, it is your job to come in and pick up the level. Let's see if they can do it.
Cornell on a 13-3 run. Gettings has outscored the entire SC team 10-6.
Well, they're shooting over 70%. You're going to be down if the other team's shooting over 70 for sure.
It's the Anthony Melton who's just checked in. And then a rebounding foul underneath against the Big Red.
Buggs is in there too. Forgot to mention him. He's another guy. High motor, plays with a lot of energy, and I think that's why Andy Enfield went to these 3 guys. They need to change the complexion of the game right now.
McLaughlin on a 3, and when in doubt, that's usually been a pretty good decision to try to find him on the floor.
He's been interesting this year, Spiro, because last Julian Jacobs was here. They played him a lot off the ball, so he didn't have as much responsibility. Now this year with Jacobs gone, he is the primary ball handler, but they need him to score as well.
Ball was broken away, and then it's taken back by Troy Whiteside, the sophomore out of Knoxville, Tennessee, and SC just can't get any stops.
Well, and Cornell's playing with more purpose right now than USC. USC is just kind of floating around, hoping good things are going to happen.
Beautiful dribble drive from the Smith. Jonah Matthews, the Santa Monica native, getting right to work, and he has looked very impressive the first couple of months.
And that's more of what they need. Aggressive plays. Even if he misses, you can attack the backboard with your size advantage. But they're just kind of passing it around right now and hoping to make a 3. That's not going to work.
That's the second wide open jump shot that the Trojans have given up. It's just too easy.
Well, when you go to Cornell, Spiro, what? You're smart. And so if you find a hole in whatever defense USC's playing, you keep going to it, and they've done it. You're right. That elbow jumper is wide open right now.
Cornell has hit their last 7 shot attempts. SC at this end trying to figure it out, and McLaughlin again going right through the D.
They want him to be more aggressive, to finish that thought from earlier. He struggled a little bit early on because he was trying to make everybody happy, and he was distributing and trying to be the playmaker. They need him to score. So he has to do both, manage the team, run the offense, and score.
Gettings, the Malibu native, had to picked up his second personal, but their offense hasn't skipped a beat. McLaughlin on a three, a little bit off to the right, and then another rebounding foul against Cornell underneath.
Here's where I disagree with Brian Earl. You got a guy that's coming home. He's hot. He is carrying you right now. I maybe roll the dice on him and trust him not to pick up that third so that he can keep going the way he's going. If you sit him down with two, it's really hard, and I remember this as a player, to come back in and keep it going as well as you had it going before you sat down.
Brian Earl, of course, one of the great players in the history of Princeton men's basketball.
That's
such a spark plug. A lot of good players that have come through that historic program, of course. Melton finding his spot off the back of the rim. He was an assistant and then an associate head coach at his alma mater. Of course, played for Pete Carrill and so many great coaches during his 4 years there. And a lot of people feel like he'll be a rising star in the coaching ranks around the country.
That's what I've heard. And word on the street is Princeton is struggling a little bit here in the non-con, and a lot of people think it's because Brian Earl's gone. But Cornell happy to have him for sure.
This is Robert Hatter, who had such a fantastic year last year. That time going nowhere. Melton, who is such a good defender for Andy Enfield off the bench, able to block the shot.
He really is. He's, you know, a lot of the UCLA freshmen and other guys are getting the notoriety, but Melton, because the numbers don't jump off the page, isn't getting that, but he does a lot of things for this USC team.
Tripping foul against Stewart here. That'll be his first on the junior.
And the best
fourth against that.
Sorry, Spirit. The best news for Andy Enfield about DeAnthony Melton, he's going to be around for a while.
Enfield, of course, had to take his lumps here the first couple of years. 11 wins, then 12 wins respectively. Then last year, got him to 21 wins, ended that 4-year NCAA tournament drought.
And here's what you like about it. Because last year came out of nowhere. Everybody's sitting there looking at it going, wow, man, maybe it's not the right guy and all that. And they come out and they get in the tournament. And now you could maybe make the argument, well, it's 1 year, whatever. No, they're 10-0 right now. So they're following it. So that tells you the program is where it needs to be. And they're getting players that they need to get.
And of course, that was with some of the surprise decisions. Of course, Julian Jacobs electing to leave and some of the others.
Jovanovic,
Caden Reinhardt. Good looking finish on a little by Robert Hatter, the senior out of Houston. And it came in a part of the offseason that really kind of changed his recruiting deal and his schedule. But, you know, after all that, all things considered, to start the way they have is pretty remarkable and a testament to Enfield.
Here's what people look at and talk about in the offseason. Who's coming, who's going. But what they forget about is who's improving within the program. And Metu improved. Shaquan Aaron, a transfer in from Louisville, has helped them. Melton, you know, not a highly regarded high school player, comes in and he has a big role on this USC team, and he's a good player. So it's hard to predict, but you're right. When you see all those guys leaving, you're like, USC is going to be down.
Look at Melton getting up to the rim. And USC finally starting to show some life. First points for Melton, and it's a 5-point game.
It's so simple for USC. It really is. Get stops and use your athleticism to beat the other team down the court. And when they do that, they're really difficult to deal with.
So dangerous when they're able to run. As Don mentioned earlier, all the athletes that Enfield has on this roster.
I'll tell you what's going to be fun, Spiro, is SC UCLA this year. My goodness.
You played in a couple of those big games. His hat hits his second straight shot. Southpaw buries the corner three. He's got 8 points. And Cornell's lead back to 8.
And it's always a fun rivalry game, but the reason I say it's going to be fun this year is because of the style of play of both teams. Right. I mean, I guarantee you the game's going to be over 100.
Now, UCLA, of course, is a traveling violation is called here on Aaron. But we'll talk more about that UCLA SC.
This is a game you're not supposed to win anyway. I leave Gettings in there and let him go and trust that he's not going to pick up that third. Let's see if Brian Earl at least maybe goes to him, back to him earlier than he normally would if it was, say, a conference game in the Ivy League.
He's still on the bench at the moment. Nice looking backdoor cut by Morgan, and then knocked out of bounds with 50 seconds to shoot.
That's the true essence of the Princeton offense there. High post entry, wing backdoor cut. There's so many variations, and so many people have taken the structure of the Princeton offense and made it their own. But really the essence of it is high post, making cuts off of that, and the high post guy making passes.
That's Hatter a little bit short. And, you know, it's one thing to have to defend a team that's got athletes and could jump through the gym, but it really kind of pressures you when you defend a team like this that's so disciplined, such a great cutting team and passing team.
You have to be alert. You have to know the game plan, because the back doors are killers. If you just keep getting backdoored, it takes your spirit, takes your will.
Off balance by Hatter, who's been known to take a couple of bad shots. Strong move that time. This is Stewart. That was partially blocked. Well done by Morgan underneath. Stewart gets it back, and look at the
great
aggressive
activity.
Defense underneath by Cornell. Finally, a foul is charged to the visitors underneath, but good activity here right under the basket.
McLaughlin maybe an over penetration there. He gave it up late to Stewart. Defense, the defender, because there wasn't enough separation between Stewart and McLaughlin, was able to essentially cover both. You get that deep if you're McLaughlin, that's floater runner time.
Chimezi Metu showing his athleticism. He's got 5.
He is so improved from last year, Spiro. I mean, last year just a runner, rebounder, shot blocker. He's a way more complete player as he sends that one back.
Unbelievable athleticism. A little bit too much on the pass. What a play. McLaughlin just to save it, but it's taken by Hatter.
But at least they're forcing the issue a little bit now. Getting the ball down the court. They're getting some stops, but you got to cover this 6-point lead that Cornell has.
This is their leading scorer, Morgan. Backdoor cut, gets it back, and he's headed to the free throw line.
That's the other thing I forgot to say about guarding a guy like Morgan. Ultimate green light, ultimate range. So you're playing him for that. See, watch, McLaughlin thinks he's going to come get the handoff because he's such a great three-point shooter, and bam, backdoor, you're dead, and one. Cornell pushes it back out to 8.
First personal against McLaughlin and the 5th against the Trojans. So here's Morgan at the line. 82% on the season. Last season, Cornell's and the Ivy League freshman scoring record averaged better than 18 points. Second team All-Ivy selection.
Yeah, I don't care what league you play in. You come in as a freshman and get 18 plus a night.
It's pretty good.
Doing some.
North Carolina native. Think of how even better he'll be once they get the conference portion of their schedule, as Metu can't finish.
I can't believe this Cornell team's 2-6. To be honest, watching them here in the first 12 minutes. I mean, they haven't exactly played Duke or North Carolina or Kentucky either, and they're 2-6.
Kickball against Metu. Well, we know the Ivy League competition has gotten better over the last 5 years. Cornell playing much better than their record would indicate. This has become a big element of their game. The team likes to protect the rim.
Well, if you have that, it allows the guards to push out and maybe even gamble a little bit more, get in passing lanes, get more steals. Melton leads the Pac-12 in steals right now as a freshman. So he's obviously doing that, but you can do it more knowing that you got help on that backside.
This is Darryl Smith trying to find an opening, but SC's defense has really clamped down. Cornell hit 8 of their first 10 shots. They've missed 5 of their last 6.
But still shooting over 50% on the road in the Trojans building. But forget the percentages. They got a 9-point lead, 7 minutes to go in the first half.
Second straight home game that the Trojans have struggled a little bit. Had to come back from 10 down in the second half here over the weekend to defeat Troy.
Nice.
What a shot. Left-handed from Metu.
That was nice.
That's some of the development to his game you're talking about. He's got 7.
I'd like to see him go quicker, but to come back, spin back to that right shoulder, go to his offhand, that was nice.
I mean, if he could develop a consistent left hand around the rim, his prospects go to a whole different level.
Well, he did that with confidence. Let's look at it again. Watch this. I'd like to see him go. Go now. What are you waiting for? That's going to come, but to spin back with that left hand, that makes you really tough to guard down there.
Second foul charge to Shaquan Aaron. So Charles Buggs has to come back on. asking Enfield who he is going to sub for, and it is Aaron, so he'll sit with the 2 fouls. Trojans down 7 with 6:46 to play here before halftime. Stone Getting still on that bench, and their offense, after kind of continuing to go up, is hit a wall here.
I was going to say that the minute he went out was when they stopped scoring. But still got the lead.
This is McLaughlin. Trojans in no hurry.
Kind of stagnant, though. Like to see that ball moving a little bit more.
Elijah Stewart, by the way, still looking for his first points. He's 0 for 2 so far, as the foul charge underneath to Cornell.
Stewart, Spiro, is a real wild card for this USC team. He leads them in scoring, but he has some nights like this where he kind of disappears. But the good news is he also has nights where he just erupts out of nowhere and knocks down a bunch of threes, and he gets 30 on you. So you hope that if you're Andy Enfield, A, it's a little more consistent to the positive side, but B, you have that to where if you're going to Oregon or you're at UCLA or Arizona and he has one of those eruptions for 30, it might get you over the hump and win that game.
Stewart had the 26-point game against Pepperdine about a week ago. Then 11 against Troy. Struggled in that game.
That's what I'm saying. It's a little inconsistent for him, but he is super, super talented.
This is Hatter as we cross the 6-minute mark of the first half. Outside to Morgan, their top scorer. Misses everything underneath, and then a loose ball foul against Josh Warren, the freshman from Downingtown, Pennsylvania.
That was a quick catch and shoot from Morgan. I don't think he had the ball set in his hands to let it go. Almost too quick there. Air ball. USC stiffening up here a little bit.
But a little Cornell school profile. Ithaca, New York, where, by the way, it's about 13 degrees tonight, we've been told.
Thank goodness this isn't a road game for USC.
5 NCAA tournament.
You didn't get rid of the notable alumni, did you?
No, we had to go to page 2.
Come on, man.
We know you like
my favorite part. Look at this. They got to have the best of all time in the non-conference. Christopher Reeve, come on, Superman.
Late great actor. E.B. White, Charlotte's Web. I know that was one of your childhood favorites.
I'll tell you what, we go through this non-conference and we do this every night, Spiro. There's some teams, you know, whatever. You run into a Cornell. These other schools are embarrassed at who their notable alumni are.
Getting into the heavyweights.
Yeah, this is a heavyweight division of the notable alumni.
Bonus for SC. That was the 8th team foul against Cornell. Both free throws converted, and it's a 4-point Cornell lead.
I go back to what I said early. The game is how Cornell wants it. USC just hasn't been able to get it going, but another stop. They're grinding their way back into this thing. They're going to bust it open the minute they can get the tempo up.
Metu calling for it. Alley-oop, and he does the rest.
You know what that looks like? Chris Paul to DeAndre Jordan. Just chuck it up there and go get it, big guy. Metu.
There's just no one on this Cornell team that could physically stay with Metu underneath. Another Cornell turnover. Ahead to Bugs, and he will stuff it. Hard right-handed finish, and we are tied at 28.
That's what it's supposed to look like for USC. Crowd getting into it. Well, half-court offense, just throw it up. Nobody's going to get to the level that Metu is. Easy dunk, but the stops, the transition from defense to offense, get out, beat the other team down the floor with your athleticism. That's when USC's at their best. Last couple possessions, last couple minutes, they got this thing tied.
First time this game has been tied since the 3-3 mark in the opening seconds. SC was down by as many as 10. It was 16-6. And still no sign of Stone Gettings, who's still on the bench. Scored those early 10 points, then picked up his second foul. And Earl sat him down.
I'll say this. This is a Monday night game against Cornell. I think the crowd's starting to figure out that this USC team's here to stay. You know, I don't know if they believed it last year, but now undefeated. Good crowd tonight.
Hatter, that's another three. Hatter has been struggling, and it's been kind of a mystery. He was so good for them last year, third leading scorer in the Ivy League. But so far this year, Don, only about 10 points per game, and he's shooting 4 entering the night. He was 4 of 35 from deep.
You know, things you run into when you prepare for a lot of games. I don't think I've ever seen somebody 4 for 35 from the three-point line. But tell you what, he's getting out of that funk tonight as Metu gets another bucket inside.
Metu's got 11. Following up that very good game he had here against Troy with 18 points and 8 rebounds.
I think with no Boatwright, you're going to see Metu getting high double digits, you know, 18 to 20.
Hatter, that's his spot. A little bit strong, and the rebound knocked into the hands of Metu. Under 4 minutes to play before halftime. Stewart into the corner. Melton wide open. Good look. It looks like Morgan just able to maintain the dribble. And some of these SC fans screaming for travel. This is a Cornell team at 2-6. Have not defeated a top 25 team in a true road game in 51 years. Make it, excuse me, nearly 60 years. 51 straight losses. And they answer this little SC run with another three from Hatter. It's 34 to 30.
I'm sure at the shoot around this morning they were saying, yeah, this Hatter's 4 for 35. He's a self-check. We can short closeout on him, and he's killing them.
McLaughlin's three no good, and then knocked out of bounds by Hatter, and we'll get a timeout.
He wears sunglasses.
Don got them back into the big dance for the first time in 4 years.
Well, why did he get hired? Florida Gulf Coast, the running, and the Dunk City, and all that stuff. But what people didn't realize is you have to be good defensively to run, and so he had to establish their culture defensively the first couple of years, and it all just came together in year 2 where they were what I've been talking about all night tonight, getting stops, using their athleticism to convert it to offense.
Man, that was a great run with Florida Gulf Coast. You can forget that 2013 run. Sweet 16 as a 15 seed. And that made Enfield an overnight sensation. And of course, parlayed that into a terrific opportunity here in LA at the helm of this USC men's program. There's a mid-range jumper with the shot clock expiring. Whiteside unable to hit it.
Well, the one thing to finish that point on Enfield is I think people wondered, coming from a place like Florida Gulf Coast, could you recruit the players you need to be successful at USC? It's a whole different kind of player. And he's done a great job of getting players in here that can play at this level and win games at this level.
This is Hatter getting to the rim, get the roll, and the rebound by Charles Buggs. Here comes Melton, right to the rack.
Off the one-leg runner, touch shot, hard shot, he knocks it down. Tell you what, this is a pretty free-flowing Princeton offense. There's a pretty green light on this Princeton offense we're watching tonight.
Well, Earl's got a couple of pretty good lead guards to kind of play the style that he wants. As McLaughlin,
he's 4 of 6 tonight. So hats off to you, Robert Hatter, and your sunglasses and the media guy. You do it, man.
I got to say, you know, Cornell, Ivy League institution, kind of a buttoned-up place. That shows some nerve on the kid. I give him some credit. What would you do if one of your teammates showed up for media day with shades?
I'd say you better be getting 20 a night if you're putting shades on for the media guide photo.
Offensive rebound by Stone Gettings, and then he's blocked from the back. Officials say jump ball. Possession now favoring USC. Leading score this year down at 18 a game, is struggling so far. He's only 2 of 9. He's 1 of 7 from deep, and that kind of makes Cornell's game so far tonight even more impressive.
How about Buggs getting the start here in the second half for USC? Played with great energy in the first half. I think Andy Enfield wants to see more of it.
Elijah Stewart gets right to work, so biggest lead for the Trojans, up 5.
Well, now Cornell's relinquished the lead at the end of the half. Can they still play with the same freedom and aggressiveness which got them the lead for most of the first half?
That's Gettings. Again, scored those early points if you've just joined us. Picked up his second, had to sit for the last half of the first half.
What would have
He's
happened?
got 13.
What would have happened, Spiro, had he left him in? I mean, he first shot of the second half knocks down another three.
And Gettings is going to be called for his third here. We'll see how Brian Earl handles this.
I don't know about that.
Just wasn't a lot of contact.
No. I mean, they don't take into consideration who it is, and I'm not sure about it. Metu had his elbow out a little. That's a no call, but I could say that about a lot of calls here in November and December.
Earl will leave him in the game, at least for the moment, with his 3 personals.
Yeah, I think you're in go-for-it mode now. You're not up anymore.
Aggressive move to the cup by Metu, and a foul charge to Troy Whiteside, the sophomore out of Knoxville, Tennessee. That will be his 3rd foul. So now suddenly some fouls that Brian Earl has to deal with.
I'm really surprised. And I know coaches stick to what they teach defensively and they stay within their principles, but in the non-conference season, if you're a team like Cornell, you run into a team like USC that's got a guy in Metu. I'm changing up what I'm doing. I have to run a second defender. You know, I'm not going to put my team in jeopardy foul-wise by trying to play a guy straight up that really you have no chance of guarding straight up man-to-man.
We'll see how Earl deals with the suddenly surging USC offense. Right now is playing with all kinds of confidence. 14 points.
I wouldn't be surprised, Spiro, if he's all league this year in the Pac-12. Would not be surprised for a second.
Again, only a sophomore, grew up in nearby Lawndale. Local kid. As HATTER unable to finish with a left hand. Here comes McLaughlin. Going glass. Bugs is there. Back of the rim, no. And down pulled by Gettings.
It's all right. You like the aggressive offense of USC.
Look at HATTER going right to the cup.
Better stop the ball if you're USC. HATTER's coming at you. That's the second time this half. He's gone straight down the court and gotten into the paint. Got to stop him early.
Shaquan Aaron drawing contact, and this kid HATTER's got some chutzpah to him.
Watch this end-to-end right here. He is literally on the end line. Nobody's picking him up at the line. I guess McLaughlin sort of did, but he crossed him over. That's too easy. And as we're heading, Spiro, closer and closer to the conference season starting, those are things that can't happen. I mean, HATTER's a good player, but how about Lonzo Ball coming at you at that speed? You gonna let him do that?
Well, certainly some things for the Trojans to think about with their defense. Metu unable to hit. Here comes JoJo Fallis, the senior, another local kid here from LA. Well, HATTER right now is fit. Off target from 3, and up the floor comes McLaughlin.
Him and Morgan definitely have the green light.
Aaron, pretty spin going glass. He's got 7.
Shot selection. Shaquan Aaron is really talented and big for his position, long, athletic, and he can score. The problem is sometimes he tries to do it all on his own and not within the framework of the offense. And I think that's something he will get better at as the season goes on, because they're going to need him to score.
Well, here comes Morgan. You can sense the frustration in his game tonight. The leading scorer, but so far just 2 of 10. And a call here against Cornell as Jonah Matthews will come in, and Bugs will take his seat. Also Rakocevic, who started the game and now coming off the bench to begin the second half.
Interested to know why that decision was made. It may be just that Rakocevic didn't start the game with the right mindset. Bugs played pretty well when he came in with energy. But Metu early exit too. Only 3 minutes this half.
So right now Rakocevic, Matthews, Stewart, Aaron, and McLaughlin for USC. 3.5 minutes gone by since halftime. Nice lead bounce. Rakocevic underneath. Going
that's the stuff that McLaughlin is responsible for now. But he still needs to score, finding that balance of distributing, making plays for others, but also getting your own.
Biggest lead for the Trojans. This is Josh Warren, who has not put up huge numbers, but has been very impressive. A freshman for Brian Earl, Pennsylvania native, as we get a call here against the Trojans. That's their 5th turnover.
Great example of what I was saying with Shaquan Aaron. He gets it, you get it out, okay, but there's really nothing there. You're still going full speed, and you turn it over. That's one where maybe you back it up, let everybody get into the front court and run some offense. But that's stuff where the coaches can watch tape with him and say, hey, look, this is what you probably should have done on that play.
This is such a young Trojans team that Enfield has in front of them. Only 1 scholarship senior, 2 scholarship juniors.
I feel like Andy Enfield's had the youngest team in the league every year he's been here. Like no one's ever gotten old.
And certainly some of the roster turnover that he had in the offseason.
That's right.
Made them even less experienced, but they played beyond their years, certainly till this point. 10-0. As Stewart going through traffic. Rakocevic, good look at the putback, couldn't finish. Enfield screaming for a foul. Meantime, at the other end, beautiful fin by Darryl Smith, the senior guard out of Chesapeake, Virginia.
Cornell's hanging in there, man. They're not going away. USC's got to know they're going to have to play the full 40 tonight.
Cornell, a 2-6 team that is not defeated on January the 25th. Person will be right here at the Galen Center.
Well, USC's got 2 more after tonight, 2 more very winnable games. And I think for them, being a young team, you just talked about it, Spiro, going into conference play undefeated, I think, gives them some momentum, some confidence. They're on the road at the Oregons to start. Not an easy trip, but Oregon State seems to be down. They can go in there and give Oregon a game.
Pretty play by McLaughlin going glass. So SC has restored order, up 6 now. McLaughlin has 9. SC has only gone undefeated through their non-conference 5 times in the 111-year history of the program. What an accomplishment, Don, that would be. An incredible confidence as they gear up for a very tough conference schedule.
Well, and aside from the momentum and the confidence and all that, you want to keep that RPI as high as you can. Sure. I think unless this thing really implodes, USC is a no doubt NCAA tournament team, but you don't want a bad loss heading into the conference to knock that RPI down so that maybe if you slip up, like for instance, Oregon State, we were talking about this before the game. Oregon State's RPI is over 300.
It's unbelievable.
So if you lose to them, that could drop your RPI significantly.
A lot of contact underneath, bodies flying all over the place. Josh Warren is whistled. That's a block. It's his 3rd person. Speaking of the Oregons, Don, you know, the Ducks, so much fanfare and expectations for that team with all their guys coming back. A little bit surprised that them a little slow out of the gates.
Well, if you look at their roster, I think what everybody was saying preseason was warranted. So one magazine had them preseason #1. But I think if you ask Dana Altman privately, he might almost be happy that they've lost a couple to bring them down to earth and get to work in practice. They didn't start off well. Dylan Brooks didn't start off playing. He's back in the lineup. We know this, that Dana Altman's team come February will be right and they will be a factor. They may not look as good as they're supposed to right now, but just give them a month and a half. They're going to be right.
Dana Altman, amazing how many years he's been doing it, and still one of the most underrated coaches in the country. As Stone Gettings with a rare miss tonight. He's had the hot hand for the Big Red. Chris Boucher in a walking boot. According to the latest reports up there, boy, it looked like Mets slightly turned that right ankle. He's got 15 points. That's about the only thing that could slow him down tonight.
Hey, credit to the USC staff and to Chimezie Metu. His offensive game is night and day from last year to this year. I mean, he looks like he really knows what he's doing down in that paint now.
Nice little push shot from Warren, the freshman. He's got his first bucket of the night. Last year was just kind of a dunker.
Yeah, and listen, just because you have a size advantage doesn't mean you're going to score. You got to have footwork, you got to have touch, you got to know what you're doing down there, and he really has improved. He went right shoulder, left hand in the first half. 2 possessions ago, he goes left shoulder, right hand finish.
That post game, such a lost start it seems like in today's game, but Metu seems to be putting it together in his second season here in LA.
It's for sure a lost start in the NBA. That's a travel. They just don't play that way anymore. You have a dominant big, so you throw it in there. It got too easy to defensively scheme for that, with running doubles at it, loading sides, and doing all that stuff. So now if you get the ball in the paint, it's off a cut for the most part. So now it's not a post move. It's more of a how can you finish off the cut. So a little bit different. But this, Metu, in the college game, if you got a size advantage, let's go to it and make them adjust their defense. College defense is not nearly as sophisticated as NBA defense is. He's showing it all to us. Turn and face off the window.
Well, it'll be fun to see him against some of the bigger, stronger competition once they get into conference play. But clearly, he is a different player than the freshman we saw last year. Nice answer at the other end by Warren. Again, this is a kid they were talking about. Doesn't put up big numbers, but as a freshman, just seems to make the right plays at a couple of big buckets.
And here's the adjustment, Spiro. Cornell goes to zone so that they don't have to deal with Metu one-on-one.
Well, at some point, they had to do something. Brian Earl making a coaching decision, and a nice-looking fake. Drop step for Kocevic. Chicago native, 4 points to push the Trojans' lead to 8. USC at 10-0. If you've just joined us, 7-0 here at the Galen Center. Best start in 46 years for this program as they create the 7th Cornell turnover tonight.
You look for improvement from within. Cornell, you know, go crazy from behind the three-point line this last 11 minutes.
Cornell still in that 2-3 zone defense, trying to neutralize the play of Metu underneath. Here is Aaron getting to the rim, and a nice little touch.
Well, you can see how talented he is. It's just about harnessing that, making good decisions, and playing within the framework.
Aaron, of course, the Seattle native, former 5-star recruit, transferred over a year ago from Louisville, had to sit out last season. Nice defense that time by Stewart. But if Aaron can continue to ascend a little bit more consistent, if you come, it just adds another layer to this team.
Spiro, if you come to a USC basketball game, there's one thing for sure you're going to see in the game is an Elijah Stewart block. He does not go a game without blocking someone's shot, and he just blocked getting shot right there.
Well, the Trojans have kind of figured some things out with Gettings, who had that hot hand in the first half. Fallis somehow able to maintain the pivot foot outside for the 3. And the rebound by Kocevic.
Wasn't bad. Fallis relocated after giving it up. He had a really clean look, just didn't knock it down.
Aaron a little bit too strong. Look at Melton getting up for the rebound. Banged around, and Metu is fouled. It's underneath on Morgan.
You really have to appreciate D'Anthony Melton and what he does. He does so much. Not great at anything, which is not. But what you love is that he impacts the game in a lot of different ways. And he's not going to be 20 a night. He's going to score some, but he's going to guard. He's going to rebound. He's going to run the offense. He's going to make passes. And at the end of the day, all he does is help you win.
She's had a couple of big nights and some big non-conference wins. Was huge for him against Texas A&M. The win over SMU as well. Rakocevic, good look at it. Couldn't hit on the little putback attempt.
See, I hate that. I hate the tip in, Spiro. If I'm playing, I go get that, bring it down, because now I got an opportunity to go up and score it or get fouled. You're probably not going to get fouled on just trying to volleyball tip it, and it almost never goes in. If I was coaching, and I coach younger kids, get it, bring it down, gather, go up strong. There's been 3 or 4 instances tonight where, again, with the size of USC, if they would have just come down with the rebound, they would have scored going back up trying to dunk it, hopefully, or get fouled.
We'll see if they heed some of that advice as we move just past the midway mark. Second half here at the Galen Center. SC at 10-0. Cornell just 2-6. Stewart doesn't get the bounce, and the rebound taken by Morgan. Can Morgan get his game going?
Yeah, I think that's the only way Cornell gets over the hump and wins this game, is if Morgan goes crazy here down the stretch.
He's their leading scorer at 18 a game. He's got only 6. 2 of 11 shooting, including 1 of 7 from 3. Gettings going left hand.
Well, he's been really good tonight, and again, I go back to what I said at the start of the second half. What would this game look like if he had never picked up his second foul? I think it would look different, because every time he's gotten it, he's pretty much scored tonight. Nice.
What finish and answer. Shaquan Aaron showing his athleticism tonight, able to get to the rim.
He fell down. It looked like he hit Tony Padilla, one of the officials. One of the better officials in our game. Did a Final Four last year. Nice drop off by Aaron, though. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Good decisions when making plays. Draw defenders, drop off. If the defender doesn't come, finish it yourself.
I look at Shaquan Aaron, I just think of Trevor Ariza for some strange reason.
Same body type.
He's got those long arms.
Yep. That's a good analogy.
So 5 points for Rakocevic after that beautiful setup by Aaron. Gettings getting to work now, just putting his back. 19 points, make it 18 for the Malibu native.
Malibu's most wanted, coming back to the Galen Center, showing out in front of the home friends and family.
High school star at Loyola, not far from here. Melton's runner, no, and it's up and in.
He just proved me wrong, Spiro. The volleyball tip went in.
A little stubborn. What a finish by HATTER at the other end. And here comes Cornell, only down 7.
One thing USC is going to talk about tomorrow in the film room is stopping the ball earlier. HATTER has gotten deep way too much.
Season high for HATTER, 18 points. His career high is 33. But right now, keeping Cornell within striking distance, down 7.
Give the tickets away. Congratulations to him. Should be a good Rose Bowl this year.
Yes, it will. Penn State, of course, had some great moments this season, and that will be a fun experience for Dawson Hartwig. And USC meets up and just knifing right through that Cornell defense.
I like the fact that Aaron's making plays for people. I think that's how it needs to start for him, to understand good decision making. Then that will open up stuff for himself.
The Trojans have converted a bucket after every Cornell turnover so far in this game. That's Morgan finally hitting the 3.
You called it, Spiro. He has to get going, and they're not going away. And I didn't expect that they would, but it's only a 2-possession game. Plenty of time, obviously, with 7 minutes left.
Morgan was just one of his first 7 from 3 before that make. And once again, it's only a 6-point game, just past the 7-minute mark in the second half.
And if you're USC, you're not even thinking clock right now. Just play.
McLaughlin is so confident, able to find his spots. Entered the night averaging 21 points in the 3 games since Boatwright's injury.
I was just getting ready to say it. He makes it look so easy that you wish it more. McLaughlin off the bounce, off high ball screens, side ball screens.
Beautiful setup. Metu the drive and the kick, doing a little bit of everything. Finding Bugs for the corner 3.
Metu leading the break and the kick out. Come on, man.
One of Charles Bugs' best nights so far as a Trojan, the grad transfer, 50-year senior out of Arlington, Texas.
I feel like every night I'm here, he plays well. Not that I have anything to do with it, but you know, you talk to the USC people, they really don't talk much about Bugs, but from what I've seen, Bugs is going to be a factor. Chimezie Metu is going to be a factor. We don't normally see this. Under control on the kick out. USC up 11.
Conference schedule, and what else can you say about Lonzo Ball? Among the most dynamic, not only freshmen, but players in general so far in the country.
It starts with him, and he has brought this to Westwood, how they play, how they share it. But those numbers are ridiculous. 97 points a game, 44 as a team from behind the line. I mean, how hard does that make your team to guard if your team shoots 44%? And it's a big enough sample size now that I don't think that that's going to like go down to 38 or anything. They've played 12 games. They're going to stay that way. And again, I said it in the first half, I want to see somebody come up with a defensive game plan that works against them.
Metu, one of the few times they've stopped him tonight. And, you know, UCLA, no stranger to success. But college basketball is just fun when UCLA is at the top.
That's right.
Well, and you know, we know Ben Howland had his great run in Westwood, but those are grinded out teams. This is a fun team to watch. Just kind of makes it something even special as McLaughlin hits a deep 3.
Just to finish that point, I noticed at the first game, I was there doing a few games early, and even for me and you, we do a lot of games, we see a lot of games. I'm saying it was fun. It was fun watching how they played. And it's different. You don't see teams share the ball and move it and run and do all that stuff that they do, because it's pretty hard to score 100 a night. That's basically what they're doing this year.
Well, they really turned their people's heads with the win in Lexington against Kentucky, and they, of course, have continued that with some huge non-conference wins. Steve Alford really challenging that crew with a very tough non-conference schedule.
Here's what it does, though, Spiro. And again, we're, what, a week and a half away from conference play. Everybody's going to try and beat them. Not that they wouldn't normally, but they're getting all the headlines. They're getting all the media attention. Guys are coming after them in the conference, I guarantee it.
It's Morgan on a 3, so Cornell not going quietly. Within 11, do they have one last push in them here? It's still plenty of time, 4 and change remaining.
Well, they may have to take some chances here. 4:30 is plenty of time, but you can't trade baskets with USC at this point.
That last Morgan 3 ending an 8-0 SC run. Here's Aaron. Shot clock into single digits into the corner for Stewart. That's a 3. Side rebound taken by Warren.
Now, if USC can get a few stops here, they can close this game out stress-free, unlike the other night against Troy.
This is Morgan, another 3. That's good.
How is he open, though? That's really the only way Cornell can get back in this thing, is if Hatter or Morgan gets hot. Morgan 2 in a row. Cut it to 8.
Cornell tonight is a plus 26 from 3. 12 of 28 shooting from deep so far. And right now it's a single-digit deficit.
Not to get on him, but that's exactly what I'm talking about with Aaron. An early clock contested runner from 12. You don't need that at this point in the game.
Well, Enfield sticking with him here. Steal by McLaughlin. 3-on-2 run out. Up to Stewart, and he'll shoot free throws. Good, hard, clean foul by Fallis. Looks like Stewart's a little shaken up.
The only thing I don't like about that foul, Spiro, is he's already in the air. And I know it wasn't intentional to hurt him.
Well, hopefully Stewart is okay. First on Fallis. He'll shoot free throws when we come back. A hard foul a moment ago given by JoJo Fallis, another Los Angeles native on this Cornell team, a senior.
Common foul, and I just talked to Tony Padilla about it, and he thinks that because of Fallis's lack of athleticism, that's what made it look worse, that he didn't have the athleticism to get to the ball, and that's why he just tried to keep him from scoring however he could. And now that I look at it again, that probably is the case. Doesn't warrant a flagrant one.
That's why I like Tony Padilla, one of the great officials we have in the country, just very honest. Good communicator, always comes over to the table to explain different things that they're looking at during the course of the game. So Stewart looks like he's okay.
You got to concentrate here for USC to close this game out. It's not over. And you got to know where Hatter is. You got to know where Morgan is.
Trojans only 6 of 11 from the free throw line. Cornell, by the way, has taken only 1 free throw the entire night. As we hit the 3-minute mark of the second half.
Like that decision by Andy Enfield to go to that trap.
Gettings left-handed scoop off glass.
Once they get into the half court, they got scrambled up, and Gettings again drive right to the front of the rim and finishes.
Cornell has hit 8 straight points, and this is a 6-point game. Open look at a 3. One shot by the freshman Jonah Matthews.
Big shot there. If Cornell gets a stop there, Trojans are going to get a little tight, I would imagine, but big 3 by Matthews to push it back to 9.
2:20 to play. Trojans trying to stay perfect. 23rd ranked team in the country. Off to their best start in 46 years. A little bit out of control. And up the floor comes McLaughlin. Little stutter step maneuver going glass. Unable to finish, but he will shoot free throws. Kind of similar to that move we saw at the end of the game against Troy the other night.
Crossover, Euro step, gets the foul. I was going to say, Spiro, that maybe it's time to pull it back and run clock. I think they're kind of in between. I think on the next possession you're walking it up, especially if you keep it in double digits. Just didn't think McLaughlin needed to go early clock to try and make something happen, but got 2 free throws out of it.
15 points for McLaughlin. There was certainly concern once Boatwright went down with the injury in late November, you know, what would happen to the offense. And Enfield was very demonstrative. He said, look, I don't have any doubts that we'll continue to score. And maybe he knew something we didn't, but McLaughlin has taken his game to another level.
We opened the show, Spiro, talking about McLaughlin's leadership. And when you lose players, when you show up for a game that it's just one of those nights, you need leadership and guys to take over. And that's what McLaughlin did and has done since Boatwright's been out.
And McLaughlin, as we get a jump ball here, McLaughlin averaging 21 points in the game since Boatwright went down, and that has continued here. Some big buckets down the stretch. There is Boatwright, a grade 2 sprain of his left MCL on November the 30th. They're talking about a mid-January to late January.
But he just got to come in and play hard. Basically, that's his job. And whatever numbers he puts up is a bonus.
This is Gettings underneath, having one of the best games of his career. A chance at a 3-point play. He's got 22 points, one short of his career high.
Great play design. Watch this by Brian Earl out of the side, out. That's good execution by Cornell. They get the and one.
Gettings again, former high school star at Loyola. Grew up in the Malibu, Calabasas area, playing in front of a number of his family and friends here tonight. Has to be a big moment. And, you know, you were there, of course, big-time college player like yourself and then in the pros. But that first game where you're playing in front of your family and friends at this level, you don't know. Some kids, kind of the nerves get the best of them. They don't play well, but he's looked very comfortable, and again, having one of the best games of his career.
Again, it can go either way, Spiro. You can be nervous because you want to play so well, or you can just want to impress them, and you just let it fly. And Gettings has really just let it fly tonight. Got off to a good start, and it's continued.
Another Trojans turnover. They've been a little careless with it down the stretch, but McLaughlin rips it back. Ahead to the freshman Matthews, right hand, and again, this kid Matthews, at the end of games, Don, he just doesn't look like a freshman.
Well, Hero, we don't do a lot of games together, which is unfortunate. But one thing I get to a lot is my lecture on time and score. And it is a time and score moment, and McLaughlin should know better. Up 9, a minute 15. There's no reason to throw it ahead to Matthews, because they're going to foul him. And even if he makes 2 free throws, it stops the clock. Why not back it up? If they're going to play the foul game, let them come get you. But if not, you can roll 20, 25 seconds off of this thing and pretty much end it.
I do enjoy your time and score lectures, by the way.
You're the only one.
But it also gives Brian Earl a chance to kind of shuffle his lineup now and get some substitutes in.
Right. It kind of gets the game reset. You're resetting the game for them.
Well, let's see how Cornell handles it. This is Robert Hatter.
Good defense.
Off balance shot. Somehow able to get his prayer answered. He's got 20 points. Best scoring game of the season for Hatter, who is the 3rd leading scorer in the Ivy League last season.
Hey, this is good defense by McLaughlin, though. Got him to take a really tough shot. Somehow Hatter gets it to go down.
Hatter has just not been the same player this year, but maybe this is the game that jump starts his season.
You know what it was? We called him out on his sunglasses, man.
He didn't appreciate it.
He did. He heard about it. Like, I'm going to show you, McLean.
9-point SC lead, 58 seconds to play. And now the Trojans can step to the free throw line and put this game on ice. But, John, they haven't shot the free throws very well.
Melton at 63. The guy you don't want on the line is Stewart if you're Cornell. He's 84. McLaughlin 77. Metu 72. And Shaquan Aaron 73. But these ones are different. These aren't, you know, first half against Troy or whoever. This game's close enough that these are a little different.
Melton, one of the freshmen that has made a real contribution for Andy Enfield so far this season. North Hollywood native, starred at Crespi High School out in Encino. Back Pac-12 leader in steals, as Don pointed out. What a start to his USC career. Morgan, with the exception of a couple of threes he's hit down the stretch, just has not had it tonight. As we get a whistle here against Aaron. That's his third.
Well, Brian Earl, you see there, first year, just starting. He's going to recruit his own player. Last offense, they've been good at sharing the ball, and that sharing has got to translate into open, made shots. USC, again, when they're moving it and getting open shots, they're pretty good. When they try and go one-on-one and themselves, they're not as good.
Morgan again misses on a three-pointer. He's now 4 of 12 from 3. Quick whistle on the rebound sequence. And more free throws coming up for USC in the double bonus with 41.5 seconds left.
Well, not surprising on Morgan for this reason. You're the #1 item on the scouting report for USC because you're getting almost 19 a night. And so that's the first thing that they're going to try and take out. And you're playing against long, big guards that can challenge your shot because you're not a big guy if you're Morgan. So I'm not surprised that he struggled a little bit tonight.
This is Morgan getting to the rim, blocked by Melton and then blocked by Metu. Well, you won't see that kind of athleticism in the Ivy League, but tonight just hasn't had any answer for it.
Well, you ain't laying it up on Metu if he's in there. I'll tell you that right now. If you're going to score and Metu's in front of the rim, you better try and dunk on him.
Excellent interior defense. 10 blocks for the Trojans tonight. And now Brian Earl wants to empty some of his bench. Got some of his underclassmen and little used guys.
Well, they're not going to foul.
A chance. Looks like he's called off the Dogs.
Well, you know what? First 10 minutes weren't great, but they did what they had to do. And I said this during the game, Spiro, Cornell is better than I thought. And I think Cornell's better than USC thought coming into this. So a good win for USC, stress-free down the stretch, unlike the other night against Troy.
Final score is 79-67 as Andy Enfield and the 23rd ranked Trojans remain perfect as they move their record to 11-0. Cornell falls to 2-7 as their tough non-conference schedule continues, and the unbeatens staying perfect. Final 6 left in Division I men's basketball. Again, UCLA will see them Wednesday night against Western Michigan, about 10 miles from here at Pauley Pavilion. Don, this was fun.
Yeah, it was. And USC, it's not easy to be undefeated still at this point in the season. USC continues to win games. Good win tonight.
Special thanks to our crew, Michael Molinari, our producer, Scott Barkey, our director, rest of our Pac-12 crew, both here and in San Francisco. Final score 79-67 for Don McClain. Spiro Vitas saying good night from Los Angeles.
He's here.
Okay.
I like you, McLaughlin. You know why? Because you get to the interview fast. I was at Cal the other night waiting for, who was I waiting for? I was waiting for like 5 minutes.
They caught me quick this time.
You want how many questions? You want just 2? Okay, cool. Anything, how do I come welcome us and say goodbye?